gratitude, we offer this incense. Throughout space and time, to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If praise ancestors herself, reflecting careful effort, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. The one who bows and the one who is bowed to are both by nature empty. Therefore, the communication between them is inexpressibly perfect. O Praxis Center is an enter Indra, reflecting all Buddhas everywhere. And with my person in front is Buddha. I go with my whole life forever. Offering that in 10 directions, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, to whom we bow in gratitude. Teaching and living the way of awareness in the very midst of suffering and confusion. Shakyamuni Buddha, the fully enlightened one, to whom we bow in gratitude. Mother of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all beings, nourishing, holding, and healing all. Bodhisattva Gaia, Great Mother Earth, precious jewel of the cosmos, to whom we bow in gratitude. Radiating light in all directions, source of life on earth. Mahaparochana Tathagata, Great Father Son, Buddha of infinite light and life, to whom we bow in gratitude. Showing the way fearlessly and compassionately, the stream of all our ancestral teachers, to whom we bow in gratitude. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato the Dharma is deep and lovely. We now ever tend to see,
study and practice it. We vow to
inside the princess to the other shore. Abhadokitesvara
attendees, please stand up as you make your requests.
If there is anyone who has not had the time to apply to receive the transmission of the 5 mindfulness trainings, but would like to receive them in today's ceremony, you are invited to please stand up, announce your name, and join the aspirants in the middle of the hall. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. Dear respected teacher, dear noble Sangha, please listen to us with compassion. We would like to make a formal request.
Please touch the earth. Please kneel down, your palms join.
Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. Dear respected teacher, dear noble Sangha, we recognize that we are very fortunate. Thanks to many good seeds sown in us by our blood ancestors and spiritual ancestors, we have been lucky enough to discover the path of mindfulness. This path helps us to practice the art of stopping, living deeply in the present moment, so we can nourish, transform, and heal ourselves, and bring joy to ourselves and others. We know that the 5 mindfulness trainings are a complete and beautiful expression of this path. Today, with all of our heart, we aspire to receive the 5 precious trainings from our spiritual ancestors and from you, the noble Sangha. We understand clearly that following this path, we will be in the company of bodhisattvas, and that every moment can be a moment of happiness. We humbly ask our dear spiritual ancestors and noble Sangha to accept our request and transmit to us the trainings.
The Sangha is happy to accept your request. You are very fortunate to have discovered this beautiful path and to have the opportunity to commit yourselves to it. In order to be able to continue on this path, you'll always need a Sangha. It is important for you to join or to create a Sangha wherever you live so you can realize your aspiration made today.
We thank you, dear respected teacher and dear noble Sangha, for accepting our request. We will follow your advice with all of our heart.
Please stand up and touch the earth 2 more times. please sit down as the Sangha proceed to do the Sangha comment. Sangha comment procedure.
Has the entire community assembled today?
Yes, the entire community has assembled.
Is there harmony in the community?
Yes, there is harmony.
Why has the community assembled today?
The community has assembled to perform the Sangha comment of the transmitting the 5 mindfulness trainings.
Noble community, please listen. Today, the 10th of July, year 2022, has been chosen as the day to transmit the 5 mindfulness trainings. The community has assembled at the appointed time and is ready to transmit and receive the 5 mindfulness trainings in an atmosphere of harmony. Thus, the transmission can proceed. Such is the proposal. Is the proposal clear and complete?
Today, the community has gathered to give spiritual support to all our friends who wish to receive and practice the 5 mindfulness trainings. With the entire community, please enjoy your breathing and remain mindful when you hear the 3 sounds of the bell. The sound of the bell is like the voice of the Buddha, bringing us back to our true home. Dear friends, please stand up again and prepare to express our gratitude to our ancestors. In gratitude to our father and mother who have given us life, we bow deeply before the 3 jewels in the 10 directions. Let's touch the earth. Thank our mother and our father. In gratitude to all our teachers who have shown us the way to love, understand, and live deeply the present moment, we bow deeply before the 3 jewels in the 10 directions. In gratitude to all our friends who guide us and support us, especially in difficult moments, We bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions. In gratitude to all living beings in the animal, plant, and mineral worlds, we bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions. Friends, now you can put the cushion there and you can sit on your cushion with your knees in the front so that you can bow from that position. Those who are comfortable with that. Please join your palms as you receive the trainings. Dear friends, now it is time for us to transmit and receive the 5 Mindfulness Training. The 5 Mindfulness Trainings represent the Buddhist vision for global spirituality and ethic. They are a concrete expression of the Buddhist teaching of the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the path of right understanding and true love that leads to healing, transformation, and happiness for ourselves and for the world. To practice the 5 mindfulness trainings is to cultivate the insight of interbeing, a right view which can remove all discrimination, intolerance, anger, fear, and despair. If we live according to the 5 mindfulness trainings, we are already on the path of a bodhisattva, an awakened being. Knowing that we are on that path, we are not lost in confusion about our life in the present or in fears about the future. We will now recite the 5 mindfulness trainings. Please listen carefully with a calm and clear mind and say, "Yes, I do," every time you see that you have the capacity to receive, learn, and practice the trainings read. Dear friends, please respond clearly. Are you ready? Here is the first mindfulness training. Reverence for life.
Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I am committed to cultivating the insight of interbeing and compassion and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to support any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. Seeing that harmful actions arise from anger, fear, greed, and intolerance, which in turn come from dualistic and discriminative thinking, I will cultivate openness, non-discrimination, and non-attachment to views in order to transform violence, fanaticism, and dogmatism in myself and in the world.
This is the first of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Please touch the earth. You can from there. You don't need to stand up. Vow to respect all forms of life. The second mindfulness training, true happiness.
Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I am committed to practicing generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. And I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see the happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering. That true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion, and that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I am aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and that I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough condition to be happy. I am committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on earth and reverse the process of global warming.
This is the second of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Touch the earth. The third mindfulness training, true love.
Aware of suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. Knowing that sexual desire is not love, and that sexual activity motivated by craving always harm myself as well as others. I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without mutual consent, true love, and a deep long-term commitment. I resolve to find spiritual support for the integrity of my relationship from family members, friends, and Sangha with whom there is support and trust. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Seeing that body and mind are interrelated, I am committed to learning appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and to cultivate the 4 basic elements of true love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness, for the greater happiness of myself and others. Recognizing the diversity of human experience, I am committed not to discriminate against any form of gender identity or sexual orientation. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully in the future.
This is the third of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? The fourth mindfulness training, loving speech and deep listening.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and to promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in a way that can help myself and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to utter words can cause division or discord. I will practice the right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness.
This is the fourth of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? The 5th mindfulness training, nourishment and healing.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I am committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will practice looking deeply into how I consume the 4 kinds of nutriments, namely edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. I am determined not to gamble or to use alcohol, drugs, or any other products which contain toxins, such as certain websites, electronic games, TV programs, films, magazines, books, and conversations. I will practice coming back to the present moment to be in touch with the refreshing, healing, and nourishing elements in me and around me, not letting regrets and sorrow drag me back into the past, nor letting anxieties, fear, or craving pull me out of the present moment. I am determined not to try to cover up loneliness, anxiety, or other suffering by losing myself in consumption. I will contemplate interbeing and consume in a way that preserves peace, joy, and well-being in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family, society, and the earth.
This is the 5th of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Dear friends, you all have now received the 5 mindfulness trainings, which are the foundation of happiness in the family and in society. They are the basis for the aspiration to help others. You should recite the trainings often, at least once a month, so that your understanding and practice of the 5 mindfulness trainings can grow deeper every day. A mindfulness trainings recitation ceremony can be organized in the practice center or at home with your friends. If you do not recite the trainings at least once in 3 months, you lose the transmission and today's ceremony will be nullified. Dear friends, as students of the Awakened One, you should be energetic in practicing the way that the Buddha has taught to create peace and happiness for ourselves and for all species. Upon hearing the sound of the bell, please stand up and touch the earth 3 times to express our gratitude to the 3 jewels. Please stand up if you can. please sit down again on the cushion as we close the ceremony.
Transmitting the trainings, practicing the way of awareness. Gives rise to benefits without limit. We vow to share the fruits with all beings. We vow to offer tribute to parents, teachers, friends, and numerous beings who Dear friends, now we will give one a certificate to one of you as representative of. You can receive your certificate from your Dharma family facilitator. This is to certify that Susan Hogan has received all 5 of the 5 mindfulness trainings on the 10th of July, the year 2002, at Deer Park Monastery, with the lineage name Graceful Source of Peace. Please come up and we see you. Congratulations. This is a graduation. Wish you good luck on all your practice. Please remember these certificates. Don't put it in between the books on your shelf. It's for us to use to recite regularly. So thank you, everyone. Maybe we can sing a happiness song for you. Congratulations for all the parents. Now you know it's possible to be with your family differently. And please find friends like this so you can support each other. We know how difficult it is to raise a family during these times. So find support for that and come back with your family. We love your children and we like to see them grow up here. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do, but I don't need to hurry. Stand up and bow to each other.